everybody, and welcome to another edition of Jays Talkin. Matt and Andrew here to bring some baseball talk from our living rooms to yours. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, go find us on social media. Drop us a like or a follow at Dunedin Blue Jays on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Today's guest is 8th round pick in the 2018 draft, pitcher in the Blue Jays organization, Joey Murray. Joey, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, guys. Glad to be here.
You said you're in Ohio. What have you been doing in Ohio during quarantine right now, man?
Just trying to stay busy right now. Just everything's pretty much closed down, starting to open up a little bit, but just trying to get my work in as best I can. Started picking up golf a little bit since I got some free time, and just reading a little bit. Just trying to stay busy.
That was actually going to be my next question. We saw that you like to play golf a little bit. You've been hitting the links a little bit here and there.
I've been trying. I mean, it's basically chasing into a lot of other fairways right now, but I think we're making a little bit of progress.
Who's the best guy in that Dunedin clubhouse from last year at golf?
See, I didn't play a whole lot during the season, but based on what I've been hearing, I heard Elgire is hands down the best. But I haven't seen it in person yet.
We've heard Al Geyer is good at everything, whether it's cards, golf, ping pong, a little bit of everything. That guy's multi-talented, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I don't like to play cards with him because it gets intense, and it's always nerve-wracking being his partner because I don't want to be the guy that messes up. So it gets a little nerve-wracking.
So you were born in Dublin, Ohio, not too far from Columbus. When did you start picking up a baseball and throwing it around the yard, or picking up a bat and start hitting it around the yard?
I started baseball whenever T-ball started, whether it was like age 6 or 7. But I mainly just liked kind of playing outside and just playing all types of sports. I didn't really get specific into baseball until probably halfway through high school. I was mainly just liked competing in a whole bunch of different things.
You said you played on T-ball teams back in the day. Think back in your mind. Can you remember one of your very first Little League team sponsors at all?
Oh, geez. I actually didn't play a whole lot of Little League. It wasn't big in Columbus. So I played T-ball and coach pitch for just some random rec team. I don't think we had any sponsors or anything like that. But and then I played a little bit of travel baseball. But no, I don't have any of those sponsors that you see in like Bad News Bears or anything like that.
Yeah, we're looking for the bail bonds. We're looking for the bail bonds or something over there. But who were you looking up to as a kid? You have the Indians close. You have the Reds close. Who were you looking up to in baseball wise as a kid?
It kind of bounced around a little bit. I really didn't become like a really diehard baseball fan until high school. But growing up, Ken Griffey Jr. That was my big one. Picked my number because of him. He was also he went to Moeller, which is in Ohio. So I actually didn't know that until late in high school. But I just kind of gravitated towards him. Just he had that nice lefty swing, and in my mind I had a similar swing, but I don't know if it looked any similar. But yeah, I kind of just liked watching him play.
Did you go to any like Reds games when you were younger? Or?
Went to a couple here and there. But mainly Columbus Clippers games, so Thriffiley team. Watching guys like Francisco Lindor, Giovanni Urshela coming through. So it was pretty interesting.
So you went to Dublin Kaufman High School in Ohio. You were all-state, all-region, first team all-district, first team all-conference, conference player of the year as a senior, 8-1 with just 1 earned run in 69 innings with 97 strikeouts your senior year. You could say you were pretty good. You also threw a perfect game in 2015. Is that one of your favorite memories of all time as a baseball player?
It's up there. It's tough to kind of pinpoint one. One that really sticks out to me is winning when we won the MAC championship tournament my junior year, so my last year of college. That was definitely the highlight of my baseball career for sure. Perfect game is definitely up there. But winning the MAC tournament was one of the most surreal feelings.
So you're talking about going off to college here soon. You went off to college after high school, obviously. How much did Tim Saunders, your coach, help you from making that jump from high school ball to collegiate ball?
Yeah, he was huge for me just because. So I had a big velo jump. I started long tossing my sophomore year, had a good velo jump, and ended up making varsity that year. Had high hopes for my junior year, and I ended up getting sick and missing pretty much the entire season. And so I kind of had to put my trust in him that he knew what was best for me. Just because I could have gone out there that summer and still tried to play in a whole bunch of showcases and stuff, but my velo would have been way down, and I would have gotten scratched off of a whole bunch of lists by college coaches. So he kind of encouraged me to take time off and really just work on gaining weight back and getting my strength back. And he got me onto a kind of a high-end fall baseball team, the Midwest Redbirds. And that's where Coach Birkbeck at Kent State saw me whenever we were playing there, and ended up getting offered by him. And so a lot of it boils down to kind of putting my trust into him. So I don't know what would have happened if I ended up trying to play through everything. So he was definitely a big impact on me.
So we went through all those, all your accomplishments in high school. Did you have a lot of offers coming out of high school to go to college, and what made you ultimately choose Kent State as the school for you?
So I kind of, because I got sick and also I was kind of a late bloomer, Kent State was my only D1 offer. I had a couple D3 offers, one D2, and a couple of teams in D1 that were talking to me a little bit. There was one school, I won't mention names, but I got down there on a visit, loved every part of it, and had a meeting with the coach, and he said, yeah, we're not offering you anything. Honestly, you're just going to get redshirted. Maybe you'll get some playing time by the end of your sophomore year. I don't know. And then he went on to say, if I'm wasting my time here, let me know, because my boys are practicing out there and I want to go hang out with them. So, yeah, and then a couple weeks later, Coach Birkbeck offered me, and that ended up being my only D1 offer. And it was just kind of a perfect match, just because even if I had other schools, Kent State was the best place for me to go. Just notorious for turning out good arms, guys that know how to pitch and are able to get outs. So I feel like I fit in really well in that program.
In your Kent State bio, we were reading, it says your biggest fear is spiders. How freaked out do spiders still make Joey Murray to this day?
I'm still not the biggest fan of them, but I can tolerate them. The problem is, if I can see it, I'm okay. But as soon as if I see it and then all of a sudden it's gone, that I'll just have to move. So I'm just not a big fan of that.
Yeah, you gotta pack up everything at that point in time.
Yeah, I mean, the spider owns the place now, so you just gotta move on. It's all right.
So you made your Kent debut your freshman year versus NC State in Myrtle Beach. Another Blue Jays organization pitcher, Andy Ravel, actually started the game. Walk us through your emotions and your nerves before that game.
Oh man, yeah, it was terrifying. I was coming off surgery that year, and I really hadn't thrown against our hitters much the entire year. And the scariest part is just getting your first appearance out of the way. So I warmed up a little bit in the first inning with another freshman, Connor Wallersheim, and we were both wondering which one of us was going to get the call to go in. And he ended up getting the call in, and next day I ended up getting the call. And I remember our bullpen coach at the time was Coach Birkbeck's son, John Birkbeck. And I was so nervous. I asked him to check and make sure I had all the right gear on, make sure I had my belt, my shoes were tied, and making sure everything was in place, because I didn't want to get out there and realize I didn't have a belt on, or I forgot my hat in the bullpen because I was so nervous. But I got out there and I faced Andrew. I don't know if the case had Knizer, he's a catcher in I think he made his debut either last year or a couple of years ago with the Cardinals. Hit probably the hardest baseball I've ever had hit off me, straight to our second baseman, and ended up getting the out. And it was pretty terrifying because I didn't even see the ball come off the bat. So, but ended up making it through okay. So and then from there, kind of got a little bit easier.
You became the most decorated underclassman at Kent State. Starting your career, you had a 6-1 record and you had a 1.80 ERA in 14 starts. How much did the Kent State coaching staff help mold you into the pitcher and player that you are today?
Yeah, I mean, they were a huge part. Coach Birkbeck, still to this day, I still keep in touch a lot with him. So in high school, I thought I knew what I was doing, and when it came to pitching, but whenever I got to college, I realized I knew absolutely nothing. And so he really kind of taught me and everybody else really how to pitch and your mindset that you need to kind of have out there, and that you actually need to think about what you're doing and not let kind of the emotional part of it kind of take precedent over everything else. So yeah, he really molded me into kind of the pitcher I am today.
Now, Kent plays a wide array of talent from all over Ohio and all over the country. Who was one of the toughest players you ever had to face in college?
Oh, in college. I would say my freshman year, the entire University of Pittsburgh lineup. I think I went 1.1 innings and gave up like 9 earned runs, and a lot of home runs. A lot of them that they probably just recently landed actually, but yeah. So just everybody on that team pretty much just destroyed me. But we learned from it.
Maybe they wouldn't have gotten out of Jack Russell. Jack Russell a little bit bigger of a stadium.
I don't know, man. Those balls were long gone.
Do you even look up and look back at those things, or do you just give me a new ball?
Usually I try not to look at them, but sometimes whenever you're not quite sure if it's going to make it out or not, you kind of waiting for it, and you're just kind of hoping it clips the top of the wall and bounces back in. And those are the worst ones, because at least whenever you give like just a moon shot, you don't have to watch it, and you just know right off the bat, all right, that's gone, it's over, we can just move on from there. But the ones that hurt the most are when there's a guy in like first and second and the ball just sneaks out and you're just kind of holding your breath hoping it stays in.
Is it one of those bad ones where the ball's off the bat and the pitcher like points up and he's like trying to tell the fielder where it is, and then it gets out and you're just like?
So I've seen a lot of pitchers do that. My thing is, unless it goes straight up, I never point, because if they're looking at me for where the ball's at, we're in trouble. So I'm really hoping an outfielder's not looking at me to find out where the ball's going. So I just try to just stand there and just watch everything play out.
What do you remember most about your 2 seasons in the Cape Cod League?
Well, I actually only played one there. I played in the NECBL my freshman year. Cape Cod League, that was a really eye-opening experience. So I had a little bit of a dead arm, and my velocity was about 84 to 86. And part of me was really freaking out that I was this kid from about a pretty small school, and my velo was down, and I was like, man, how am I going to fit in against these Power 5 guys that are throwing low to mid 90s in college? And I think the fact that I had dead arm and my velocity was down and I was still able to compete and make the All-Star team kind of really showed me that my competitiveness and like just all the things that Coach Birkbeck taught me about like actually being able to pitch, not just being out there throwing, really helped me out and helped me succeed a lot in that league.
You said your junior year, you guys ended up winning the MAC tournament. You also set a MAC single season record for strikeouts of 141. Was it time to go to the big leagues if you got the call? Did you want to stick around? What were you thinking about this decision?
Oh, like in terms of like the draft decision?
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough because the more I played, the more I wanted to stay. But I kind of felt like I knew it was time to go. Draft day was kind of just a roller coaster of emotion. It was a long day, but the day prior, Coach Birkbeck came up to me and he said, like it's time, like it's time for you to sign. It's like you're ready. And so everything that was going on draft day, it was kind of just a mess. At one point, I told my mom that I said, I think I'm just going to go back to school. And the Blue Jays were my favorite team that I talked to. There were two teams that I told her that if they drafted me, then I'd go. And luckily, the Blue Jays were the first one on the list, and they were the first ones to call, and the rest is history. So everything kind of worked out, but yeah, I'm definitely glad I signed.
And one more thing from your college bio. Do you still put your left cleat on first? Is that still something Joey Murray does to this day?
Yeah. So I'm super routine oriented, and yeah, it's something I noticed a long time ago that even if I'm just putting my shoes on to go outside, like for some reason I always put on the left one first. And I actually, before like I went out to practice one day, I tried putting on the right one first, and I felt extremely uncomfortable, and I just felt off. So I don't know if that makes me a weird guy, but I don't know. That's definitely something I still do to this day. I'm sure I have a lot of other things that I have to do every single time I pitch, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
What exactly is the Joey Murray Invisiball, and does that high spin rate come so naturally? Did that come naturally, or was that something that you worked on to get that high spin rate on your fastball?
Yeah, so there's kind of a misconception there. So I wish it was invisible, but the hitters will definitely tell you that whenever I throw it low in the zone, it goes about 400 feet. But so it's kind of how you use it. So the high spin rate definitely helps. It's not something I ever worked on. It's not even something I even knew about until a scout told me in Cape Cod that he referenced my numbers, and I didn't even know that spin rate was even a thing by then. But yeah, I mean, it's just something that kind of makes me different in this game. One of the big things is you don't want to be like that stock righty. So you want to have some sort of a difference maker in you. And for me, that's having a fastball that looks like it's riding a little bit longer and kind of rises a little bit whenever it's reaching home plate. So it's just something that I have to know how to use. And luckily, I had a great college coach that kind of helped me out with that.
I guess it's probably the divide's getting a little smaller now, but are you one of those guys that looks at the data of your pitches? Are you still one of those guys that just wants to kind of throw out and see how it feels instead of looking at the numbers?
Yeah, so I look at the data a lot. I don't let it change how I pitch. I more so look at it for just kind of a reference. So if one day my slider's pretty bad, I'll go back and look at the data on it for that day, and then I'll look at kind of how it was on a day that was good, and just see kind of where the differences are. And I'm not blind to the fact that me having high spin rates and being this analytical pitcher, that's one of the main reasons I have a job today. So I was 87, 89 in college and managed to get drafted because of that. So I'm kind of embracing it just because that is one of the main reasons I have a job right now.
The conversations in the clubhouse, at least from maybe where I was standing, and it could have been different for you, when you went to New Hampshire, it seemed like it maybe would have been just a temporary spot start thing. You'd come back to Dunedin in your first full season. But how nice was it for you to go up there and be able to prove yourself and stay up there the rest of the year?
It was awesome. It was a lot different. That was probably the hardest jump for sure. Yeah, I was supposed to go up for one start, and then I made it through three batters, gave up 3 straight singles and with 1 run, and didn't get an out. And then it was called for a rain. And I think they kind of felt bad for me that I was about to have an infinity ERA in Double-A that year, because I was going to get sent back down. So they gave me one more shot 2 days later. Ended up pitching pretty well. And at some point I got sent back down, was supposed to start against the Twins affiliate. Or no, sorry, the Cardinals affiliate in Paul. And I was warming up for the game and ended up getting rained out. Cy came up to me after the game. He says, "Hey, yeah, you're going back." So it was just a whole lot of things that I had no control over. Kind of ended up working himself out. And then once I got up there, I was supposed to come back down to Dunedin, and it was an interesting final month of the year, to say the least. So just kind of taking it day by day and just trying to pitch as best I can.
Yep.
What's kind of the process when that happens? Is it hard, packing up? Can you pack up your whole life in a little suitcase now, pretty much?
Yeah. I got kind of used to it. I got caught up on a road trip, and because I was supposed to keep going down back to Dunedin after every start, I didn't want anybody to ship up my clothes. So I had probably 6 days worth of clothes, and I would just kind of just wash it every couple of days. And so I really didn't have anything up there. I was staying on Justin Dillon's couch for a while, staying in a hotel for a while. And yeah, you kind of just learn to just take it as it is, just day by day, just got to learn to enjoy it. I think at the beginning I was really stressed out about where I was going to end up, whether I was going to get sent back down that day. And probably halfway through, I just kind of realized that there's no point in worrying. Just whatever happens. I'm just going to enjoy my time while I'm here, whether it's just today or the rest of the season. Just got to try to make the most of it.
And then how cool was it? I believe you faced the Lakeland Flying Tigers a couple of times last year. How cool was it to face your former teammates? I know Rosa and Birch both played with the Tigers organization. How cool was it to see them again?
Oh, it was awesome. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to pitch against Birch, but I pitched against Rosa in Lakeland a couple of times, and I gave him everything I had because I knew if I gave up a hit that I would never hear the end of it, and especially if it was like a double or a home run. And so I ended up striking him out a couple of times, and he almost got me one of the times, but hung a slider and he just missed it. But and then I got to face him in when I pitched against Erie. It was his Double-A debut, and we got to face off against each other again. But yeah, it was nice because at that time I was staying in the team hotel where the visiting team also stays, so we got to hang out for a while that series and just kind of hang out like old time's sake.
You led all minor league Blue Jays pitchers in strikeouts last season. How would you describe your first full season in pro ball?
It was definitely a learning experience. So I started out in Lansing, and that was actually where I pitched the worst statistically. And I think I just had so much going on in my head. I was trying to force results, and I was trying to obviously try to get a promotion. And I think I was letting that play too much in my head, and I was really thinking like trying to strike every single batter out. And the result was that I was actually walking a lot more guys. I was giving up more runs. So, and kind of as the season went on, you start to learn more about scouting reports, and you face teams multiple times, which never really happened in college. So you got to kind of learn how to adjust and make adjustments on the fly. So I think I would consider it a success, but there's definitely a lot of things that I could change and look forward to changing in the future.
Do you feel like maybe the winning ways that we had going in Dunedin, kind of once you come in, does it make you say like, I have to step my game up, or if I have to match these guys on the staff as well?
No, I kind of I dealt with that in kind of early in my career, trying to be better than everybody else. But there comes a point where you realize that you can't control that. And like, I just want to pitch the way I'm capable of pitching. Just execute my game plan. So like we talked about earlier, like my fastball is different than a lot of other guys. So a lot of guys do things way better than I do, and I do some things better than other guys. So you kind of just have to stick to your strengths. And I feel like if you start focusing on what everybody else is doing, you kind of lose sight at what you're good at and what makes you special and what makes you kind of forget the reason that you're there. So I think definitely there was a huge confidence factor when you came in, though, just because we were winning so much, and you kind of get used to that winning culture. And it's not that you take winning for granted, but you know that like you just have that confidence that there's a very high chance that we're about to get a win that day. And I mean, who doesn't love winning?
I've said it a million times on these interviews, but it just never seemed like that team was out of a game. It seemed like every time we went to Jack Russell Stadium, there was a chance for the Blue Jays to win every single game, and I don't think you guys wanted to lose any of them. It seemed like.
No. I mean, you think like you're there. It's hot. Everybody's sweating like crazy. I mean, you might as well just try to win every single game. Like you're going to be there for a while, so you might as well try to win it.
What's that like coming from the cold of Lansing to the hot of the Florida State League?
Yeah, that was something unreal. So it was freezing in Lansing. I think my last game it was sleeting, and I think it was probably 35 degrees and raining and windy. And then my next start was in Tampa against the Yankees, and it felt like it was 110 degrees and humid. And I was going up against Aaron Hicks, and I just remember getting to the third inning, and I couldn't feel my legs. I was soaked. I was at the point of just survival at that point. I was worried I was going to pass out on the mound, and I was just my velocity had to have been dropping about 4 or 5 miles an hour by that point. I was just hoping to survive that day, but ended up getting through. And eventually, you kind of start to get used to the heat a little bit. But man, that first day was rough.
Yeah, and it was up in Ohio, man. You were playing all those games in the cold most of the time anyway. So Lansing gets kind of was like, okay, this is just a normal occurrence for me here.
Yeah. I don't mind pitching in the cold. I'm used to it by now. The hitters hate it because they don't want to get jammed or anything like that. So you just pitch inside, and you get a lot of good easy ground balls and a lot of success. So you just gotta kind of know who you're pitching against and kind of the weather and stuff like that.
And Joey, we have one more question. This is a fan question coming from a friend of mine who's also named Matt, also a Kent State alumni, and he wanted to know your favorite place to eat at Kent State.
Oh man, probably. I mean, oh geez. So off campus, gonna have to go with Evergreen Buffet. So ended up having an issue with that just because I went there so many times. Weight got out of control a little bit, but hands down the best Chinese food. Little sketchy, but it's amazing. And then on campus, there's nothing better than Eastway. So you never know what you're going to get, but it's usually edible.
And Rosie's Pizza, hot pile of garbage. You there?
Yeah, the list goes on.
So thanks so much, Joey, for taking some time out to talk some baseball and whatever else we were talking about here today, whether it's Kent State or the good times at Jack Russell. We really appreciate you taking a few minutes and talking with us today. Is there anything you'd like to say to the Jays fans out there before we sign off?
Yeah, just hoping we start playing some ball soon, so you guys can watch and start interacting with some fans. So, just hoping for the best, trying to stay safe.
Thanks so much, Joey. Fans, we'll see you next time for another edition of Jays Talkin'. Matt, Andrew, and Joey Murray signing off. We'll see you next time.